At the hospital for a prenatal checkup, I ran into my husband. He was accompanying a woman I had never seen before. The moment he saw me, he visibly froze, then quickly raised a hand to cover his face, pretending he hadn't noticed me. I stood there, staring straight at him, not moving. Between the fingers covering his face, I could still see the faint marks I had left yesterday when I trimmed his nails. How ridiculous. The woman beside him followed his line of sight, raised a brow, and asked in a sugary, delicate voice, "Babe, what's wrong?" That one word, babe, stabbed straight into my eardrums. He stiffened all over, dropped his hand in a panic, and forced out an awkward excuse. And nothing. I thought I saw someone I knew. He tugged at the woman's arm, trying to turn away. "Ethan," I called his name. My voice so calm it even surprised me. His footsteps stopped, his back went rigid. I walked toward them, stopped right in front of him, let my gaze sweep past his bloodless face, and land on the woman's slightly rounded belly. "Aren't you going to introduce us?" I asked. The woman looked me up and down with both scrutiny and smugness, instinctively leaning closer to Ethan. She's, Ethan stuttered, sweat beaded along his forehead. His lips trembled. He couldn't even form a single complete sentence. I let out a soft laugh, pulled out my phone, and snapped a photo of the two of them. "All right. You two go on," I said lightly as I put the phone away. "I'll go get my exam done. I won't disturb your little family of three." Without another glance, I turned around and walked off, my back straight as a blade. I could feel their gazes on my back, one panicked, one provocative, but I didn't look back. At the corner, I finally allowed myself to lean against the cold wall and take a deep breath. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible hand, tight, heavy, painful, but no tears fell. Not worth it. After the exam, I got the results. Everything was normal. How ironic. He was the one desperate for a baby. Yet I had never gotten pregnant. Turns out, he had already found another soil to plant his seed. Outside the hospital, the sunlight was harsh. My phone vibrated in my bag. It was Ethan. I hung up. He called again. I turned off my phone. When I returned home, the place that once held warmth and promises now felt suffocating in every inch of air. No hysterics. I simply began calmly packing my things: documents, bank cards, a few sets of clothes, and my laptop, which held all my work files. On the vanity sat our wedding photo. His smile looked so sincere. What a liar. The door lock clicked. Ethan rushed inside, his face twisted with panic and a hint of desperate hope. "Vivian, please let me explain." I zipped my suitcase, turned to him, and asked quietly, "Explain what?" "Explain how you told me you were working overtime while you were actually at a prenatal appointment with another woman. Explain whether the baby she's carrying is yours." My question hit him like a slap. His face turned red, then pale. I was forced. I drank too much that night. She just, "Vivian, I swear, you're the one I love. Believe me, I'll make her get rid of Ethan." I cut him off, my voice cold as ice. "Don't blame alcohol, and don't make decisions for someone else. That's between the two of you." He lunged forward as if trying to hug me, but I stepped aside. "Vivian, don't do this. We've been together for so many years." "Years?" I laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "From the moment you betrayed me, those years meant nothing." I grabbed my suitcase and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" He panicked. "This is our home." I paused, looked at him one last time, the man I had loved for years. "From today on, it's yours." I turned away, then added, "Oh, and the divorce agreement, I'll send it to you soon. If you don't agree, we'll let the court decide. I have solid evidence of your affair." His face collapsed, color draining away. I walked out without looking back. I checked into a small hotel near my company. The first thing I did after setting my luggage down was turning my phone back on and calling my college best friend, now a well-known divorce attorney, Ivy. She picked up quickly. "Ivy, I'm getting a divorce. Ethan cheated, and the woman is pregnant." Ivy sucked in a sharp breath. Then her voice turned steady and professional. "Evidence?" I took a photo at the hospital, him with the woman. Her belly is clearly showing. "I also have phone records." He admitted it. "But I didn't record that part." The photo works as preliminary evidence, but not airtight. Try to get stronger proof: chat logs, money transfers, or record him again. Stay calm. You did the right thing moving out. Now, about assets, what do you want? I want what I'm entitled to. Nothing less. The house is marital property, so is the money in our joint account. Good? I'll draft the agreement. Get ready, he'll put up a fight. Ivy was right. The day after I sent him the divorce agreement, Ethan went wild. He called nonstop, switching numbers each time I blocked him. Finally, he showed up downstairs at my office. He looked terrible, sunken eyes, haggard face. When he saw me, he rushed forward, trying to grab my hand. I stepped back. Vivian, can we talk? Do we really have to go this far? Your agreement is insane. Insane? I looked at him coolly. Legally, as the spouse at fault, I could ask the court to leave you with nothing. Splitting everything 50-50 is already mercy. The house. My parents paid the down payment, and we paid the mortgage together after marriage. I paid for the renovations. Legally, it's marital property. He froze, his face twisting with frustration and humiliation. Then he tried to threaten me. Vivian, don't push me. If you blow this up, it won't look good for you. You just started doing well at work. What will your boss think if things get messy? I stared at him, suddenly feeling like I was looking at a stranger. This man, whom I once trusted with my life, was now using my career to blackmail me. Ethan, you were the one who blew everything up. I held his gaze, unflinching. If you want to start a war, fine. Let's see who ends up embarrassed: the husband who got another woman pregnant while his wife was trying to conceive, or the wife who simply got betrayed. His mouth opened, then shut. He had nothing to say. I no longer looked at him. I walked to my waiting rideshare. I knew this was only the beginning. Over the next few days, the pressure began to build. First, my department manager, Mr. Wang, called me into his office. He asked vague, probing questions: whether I was dealing with any personal difficulties, whether my emotional state was affecting my work. Then he hinted that the progress of an important project I was leading seemed a little slow. I almost laughed. I knew exactly whose doing this was. Ethan had distant relatives in upper management, specifically Mr. Zhao, one of the company's senior VPs. But I neither explained nor revealed anything personal. Instead, I placed a neat stack of documents on Mr. Wang's desk. Mr. Wang, here's the updated project timeline, the latest deliverables, and a progress comparison. Every milestone has been met, some ahead of schedule. If there's anything you're not satisfied with, I can adjust immediately. He flipped through the documents, and the clarity and thoroughness of the plan left him speechless. Good. Just making sure you're doing okay. I walked out without a word. I poured myself fully into work. All the anger, humiliation, and disappointment became fuel. I stayed late, refining every detail until the project was airtight. And then, following Ivy's advice, I made a move. I called Ethan. The moment he picked up, his voice held exhaustion and a smugness he tried to hide. Vivian, finally changed your mind? I pressed the record button silently. My voice was soft, deliberately fragile. Ethan, we've been married so long. Do you really have to treat me like this? Is she really that good? Is she worth you doing all this to us? Maybe he thought I was giving in. Maybe he thought he had won. His guard slipped. Vivian, this is pointless now. Chloe is pure. She doesn't fight me on everything. She needs me. He let out a sarcastic laugh. You're always so tough, so opinionated. I'm tired. I deserve to be with someone who doesn't make my life difficult. I felt nothing but my recording was worth gold. He continued, proud and careless. I can give you some compensation, but that ridiculous agreement you sent, forget it. If you don't accept my terms, I have plenty of ways to make sure you don't last long in that company. I lowered my voice. So, you admit you're leaving me for Chloe, and you've been sabotaging my job? What if I am? He snapped. Don't try to trap me. Click. I hung up, saved the recording, and immediately sent it to Ivy. Her reply came seconds later. Perfect. This is strong evidence. But Ethan didn't back down. He just changed tactics. The next Monday, I felt the shift the moment I walked into the office. Whispers, glances, and when I logged into our internal messaging system, a pop-up gossip post greeted me. Rumor, a certain female manager's marriage cracked because of her overly aggressive personality, emotional instability affecting her team. It didn't name me, but it didn't need to. I closed it without blinking. Pathetic move. Ethan, then my desk phone rang. Vivian, come to my office, Mr. Wang said. Inside the office, he wasn't alone. Mr. Zhao sat on the sofa, sipping tea like a judge waiting to pass sentence. Vivian, Mr. Wang said awkwardly. Sit. I sat back straight. There have been some discussions about you recently, he began. We don't believe them, of course, but considering you might be going through personal issues, and given that the lighthouse project is at a critical point, with heavy client demands, we think it might be better to temporarily hand it to Leo. You could take some time off and adjust. There it was. Their plan to sideline me under a pretty excuse. Mr. Zhao didn't even look at me. He just lifted his cup and blew on the steam. I spoke calmly, Mr. Wang. Mr. Zhao, I said, opening my tablet. This is the updated proposal I finalized last Friday. The client has already approved it. This is the core data model. I optimized it last night. Efficiency improved by 15%. Here is the detailed risk plan and execution roadmap for the next 2 weeks. I slid the tablet toward them. My work has never been delayed due to personal issues. Every deliverable is on time or ahead. If the company removes the project manager who knows the project best based solely on gossip, that's not only unfair to me, it's a risk to the project itself. Mr. Zhao's hand paused midair, the teacup trembling slightly. I looked directly at him and added, as for emotions, don't worry. I'm extremely calm right now, calmer than I've ever been. I know exactly what to do and what not to do. The office fell silent. Mr. Wang looked through the documents, unable to fault a single detail. Before either of them could respond, the door burst open. Mr. Wang, Mr. Zhao. The assistant said breathlessly, the client Ms. Chen from Lighthouse is here. She says it's urgent and she needs to see the project lead immediately. Both men froze. Bring her in. Mr. Wang hurried. Ms. Chen walked in briskly, spotted me and exhaled visibly in relief. Vivian. Thank goodness you're here. We have a sudden system issue on our end. Only you understand the early stage data mapping. Can you come with me now? Of course, I said smoothly. I have everything ready. I turned to the 2 men. Gentlemen, the client needs me. Mr. Wang nodded frantically. Go. I left the office with Ms. Chen, without sparing Mr. Zhao another glance. I knew I had dodged the first bullet. The crisis at Ms. Chen's company was resolved smoothly. My efficiency and professionalism earned her full approval, and in front of several colleagues, she publicly praised me to Mr. Wang. That stabilized my position on the project for now, but I knew the undercurrents hadn't disappeared. That afternoon, after finishing some outside work, I returned to the office building. As I walked past a cafe downstairs, a figure stepped into my path. Chloe. She looked much more exhausted than when I saw her at the hospital. Dark circles, pale lips, and a visibly bigger belly. But her eyes carried a reckless determination. Vivian, can we talk? Her voice was soft, almost fragile, but I could hear the manipulation beneath it. I stopped. There's nothing for us to talk about. Just 5 minutes. She stepped closer as if reaching for my arm. I avoided her touch. Her voice dropped into a fox whisper. It's about Ethan. I know he's been giving you trouble. I can help convince him to stop. I almost laughed. Help me? And what exactly is your position to do that? The mistress? Or the mother of his unborn child? Her face drained of color before twisting with resentment. Don't make it sound so ugly. In relationships, there's no such thing as first come, first served. There's only who's right for you. Ethan said he's been sick of how controlling you are for a long time. He loves me now. So he loves you, I said evenly. Yet he let you pregnant as you're come confront his not yet divorced wife. If he truly loved and protected you, he wouldn't let you stand here. That hit a nerve. I came on my own. She snapped. I don't want to see him suffer like this. Vivian, what will it take for you to let go? Isn't this pointless? You just want money, right? Name your price. Name my price? I looked straight at her, my tone sharp. And who are you to negotiate with me? The money you're spending, your apartment, your prenatal bills are likely marital assets. Maybe you should start praying I don't come after those too. She clearly hadn't considered that. Her eyes flickered in panic, but she quickly masked it with anger. Ethan said the money is all his. Great. Have him show you proof. I turned to leave. Wait. Her voice suddenly rose, drawing the attention of a few people nearby. She clutched her belly dramatically, her tone turning pitiful and trembling. Vivian, I know you hate me and the baby, but the baby is innocent. Please, give us a chance to live. Her performance was disgusting. I didn't react. Instead, I calmly took out my phone, opened the recording app, and held the screen up so she could see the red blinking light. Keep going, I said, voice steady. Repeat everything you just said, including the part where you tried to guilt trip me using the baby. My divorce lawyer will appreciate more evidence. Her face turned ghost white. She stumbled back a step, shocked. You're recording me? Of course. All perfectly legal. I slipped my phone back into my bag, and here's a tip. Instead of staging cheap performances, maybe check Ethan's bank account. See if he even has the money to support you. Otherwise, you might end up with nothing. Her eyes widened. Panic, fear, disbelief, all mixed into one ugly expression. I walked past her without looking back. This short confrontation told me one thing clearly: Chloe wasn't confident, Ethan wasn't dependable, and their alliance was crumbling under pressure. After that brief but revealing encounter with Chloe, I didn't waste a second. I went straight to meet Ivy. I placed everything on the table: the hospital photo, the earlier phone recording where Ethan admitted sabotaging my job, the new recording of Chloe trying to emotionally manipulate and pressure me, and the suspicious financial records. Ivy helped me gather Ethan's recent large unexplained expenses that clearly went toward Chloe's needs. Ivy listened to the recording, flipped through the documents, and gave a low whistle. "Vivian, you've done even better than I expected." She tapped the table. "This new recording is crucial. Not only does it confirm the affair again, but it also shows the mistress actively interfering with the divorce process and attempting to influence your decisions using the unborn child. Judges absolutely hate this kind of emotional manipulation. It reflects horribly on both of them." She scanned the bank statements. "These transactions, combined with everything else, show a clear pattern. He was financially supporting another woman during the marriage. That's misuse of marital assets." She shut the folder with a decisive thump. "All right, next step. We don't give him another chance to breathe." I sat up straighter. "What do we do?" "We file immediately." Ivy's tone was sharp, efficient. "Divorce lawsuit, and more importantly, we request pretrial asset preservation." "Asset preservation?" I raised a brow. "Yes." She folded her arms. "That means we freeze the joint accounts and place a temporary hold on the marital property. This prevents him from transferring money to Chloe or draining the accounts." A ruthless but brilliant move. If Ethan was already juggling Chloe's expenses, losing all access to money would hit him like a train. "What do I need to do?" "Just sign the paperwork. I'll handle the rest." I signed. 3 days later, the storm hit. I was in a meeting when my phone buzzed nonstop. "Ethan?" I excused myself, stepped out, and answered. The moment the line connected, his voice exploded in my ear. Panicked, frantic, unhinged. "Vivian, what the hell did you do? Why are all my cards frozen? Why is the house under a legal hold? Are you insane?" He was practically screaming. "I simply use legal channels to protect our marital assets," I said calmly, "and to ensure you don't keep spending our joint money on your mistress. You tell your damn lawyer to undo this. Now, we can talk. I'm willing to negotiate." "No need." My tone was almost gentle. "We'll let the court decide." I paused, then added softly, "And you should probably calm Chloe down. I hear stress isn't good for pregnant women. And now that you suddenly have zero money, well, that must be stressful for both of you." He let out a strangled growl. Something crashed loudly on his side, and he hung up. I slipped my phone back into my pocket and returned to the meeting. My heart beat steady. Ethan was officially unraveling. And then, the ripple effect spread. Chloe called nonstop, sobbing, threatening, begging, sometimes claiming she was about to faint, sometimes accusing me of ruining her life, sometimes pleading for me to be kind. I blocked her. One number after another. At work, Mr. Zhao began acting strangely too. Not hostile, nervous, avoidant. Every time he saw me, his gaze flickered with guilt or worry. I knew something was brewing. It didn't take long. One evening, right before clocking out, I received a text from an unfamiliar number. "Vivian, if you have time, I'd like to speak with you." 6:30 p.m. Calf downstairs. "Zhao Ming." "Mr. Zhao, interesting," I replied. "Okay." 6:30 p.m. He was already seated, a glass of untouched water in front of him. Gone was his smug authority. He looked tired, anxious. A man backed into a corner. "Vivian," he began, rubbing his palms nervously. "I want to apologize for what happened before. I listened to the wrong person. I made things difficult for you. That wasn't fair." I didn't respond. He exhaled shakily. "Has Ethan contacted you recently?" "Twice." "He's unstable." "Unstable?" He let out a bitter laugh. "That's putting it lightly. He's losing it." After the accounts were frozen, he begged me for money. He actually wanted me to tap department emergency funds for him. He shook his head in disbelief. "Does he think I'm crazy?" "That's illegal." So that was it. Ethan had crossed the line, threatening Mr. Zhao's own neck. I refused. "Of course," Mr. Zhao continued. "And then he threatened me. Said if I didn't help him, he'd expose all the favors I did for him before, that I adjusted your performance review for him. He wants to drag me down with him." I sat still, letting him talk. "Vivian, I know you have evidence against him. I know you're going through the courts." He swallowed. "I want to help you. And frankly, I also need to protect myself." There it was. Go on, I have emails, messages, records of his requests, proof that he wanted me to interfere with your work. If you use them in court, they'll destroy him. That was a significant offer, another nail in Ethan's coffin. And your condition? I asked. That you clarify, if necessary, that I was misled, that I wasn't acting maliciously on my own. I'm not asking you to lie, just don't let him drag me into something criminal. I considered it. His evidence would make the case airtight, and helping him stay clear of Ethan's fallout cost me nothing. Fine, I said. Give me the files, I'll pass them to my lawyer. Relief washed over his face like a wave. He handed me a sealed envelope immediately. Thank you, Vivian, really. I left the cafe without looking back. Ethan had lost his last ally. I handed the sealed envelope straight to Ivy that same night. She opened it, skimmed through the contents, and her eyes immediately sharpened. Perfect. These records clearly show he asked a senior manager to interfere with your job performance. This isn't just marital misconduct, this is character evidence of workplace manipulation and abuse of influence. She tapped the pile of papers. Vivian, with this, our evidence chain is almost flawless. She closed the folder firmly. I think it's time we call him in for the final negotiation. This time, he won't have the strength or the leverage to refuse. I stood beside the floor-to-ceiling window of the law office, looking down at the flowing headlights on the street below. The sunset was fading, casting a warm glow through the glass. For the first time in a long while, I felt something close to peace. The final negotiation. The meeting was set at the law firm's conference room. I arrived early with Ivy. Calm and composed, Ethan showed up 10 minutes late. He looked ruined, dark stubble covered his jaw. His eyes were bloodshot. His suit was wrinkled. He looked like someone who hadn't slept or eaten properly in days, and for the first time, he arrived alone. No lawyer, no allies, no pride. He sat down heavily, breathing hard, glaring at me with a mix of resentment and desperation. Ivy slid the finalized divorce agreement across the table. Mr. Carter? She began, her voice crisp, professional, cutting. Based on the evidence of your extramarital affair, your financial misconduct, and your attempts to interfere with my client's employment, this agreement is already lenient. Vivian receives 60% of the marital assets. You receive 40% if you sign today. We can withdraw the lawsuit. Ethan flipped through the pages rapidly, then slammed the papers onto the floor. 60%? Vivian, are you out of your mind? You already ruined me, froze my accounts, ruined my job, made that woman leave me in hysterics, and now you want more? That money is mine. The house down payment was my parents'. Ivy stood up, placing herself between us like a shield. Mr. Carter, calm down. If this negotiation collapses, we will pursue a court judgment, and based on the volume of evidence we possess, it is entirely possible Vivian could be granted the majority of the assets, or that you may walk away with nothing. He lunged past her, pointing a shaking finger at my face. You think you've won? He shouted. You think you're safe? I'm not done. If I go down, you're coming with me. He reached into his pocket and slapped a USB flash drive onto the table. You know what this is? Photos? Screenshots? Messages taken out of context. Sure, but enough to ruin your reputation. Enough to make your company wonder what kind of woman you are. A desperate, abandoned woman who'll do anything for work. I'll send them to everyone. His voice cracked into a crazed laugh. You think you've rebuilt your life? I'll destroy it again. Ivy inhaled sharply. Vivian, don't worry, if he distributes doctored material, we can sue for defamation. But I didn't let her finish. I stepped forward, not shaken, not emotional, just incredibly calm. I picked up the USB drive between two fingers and gently tossed it back across the table as if it were garbage. Ethan, I said softly, if this is your final card, it's pathetic. He froze. My clients, my colleagues, anyone who's ever worked with me knows exactly what kind of professional I am, and more importantly, I leaned forward slightly. I don't work at that company anymore. His head jerked up. I smiled a small, cold smile. Lighthouse finalized the deal yesterday. Ms. Chen offered me a new position. Higher pay, higher rank, completely independent. His face drained of color, like ink spilled in water. So whatever evidence you think you have, I tilted my head. It means nothing to me now. He stumbled back a step. I lifted my phone. The recording screen glowed brightly. By the way, I said, everything you just said, the threats, the attempted blackmail, the intent to defame me, it's all recorded. Ethan's jaw dropped. He looked like he had been struck by lightning. This, I continued, is yet another piece of evidence of your behavior. You think a judge will sympathize with a man who threatens his wife during a divorce negotiation? His lips trembled, his shoulders sagged, his knees almost buckled beneath him. All the fight, all the arrogance, all the delusions collapsed. Ivy laid a fresh copy of the agreement in front of him. "Mr. Carter," she said firmly, "signing this is your only good option left." Silence, a long, suffocating silence. Then, with trembling hands, Ethan picked up the pen and signed. His signature was shaky, crooked, almost unreadable like his life at that moment. He dropped the pen, stood up without looking at me or Ivy, and staggered out of the room like a ghost. The door closed behind him. I sat down slowly and exhaled, long and deep. For the first time in months, the weight on my chest lifted. All terms of the divorce agreement were executed quickly. I received everything I was entitled to. I sold my share of the house, the one filled with memories both sweet and bitter, and severed every tie to the past. I accepted Ms. Chen's offer and joined her company as the lead on a major new project, a higher position, better pay, a team that respected me purely for my abilities. No one there knew my story. No one whispered behind my back. No one judged me. They valued what I brought to the table: my work ethic, my competence, my results. My days became full, productive, meaningful. One quiet weekend, I was settling into the new apartment I had just rented, sunlit, warm, filled with fresh air and a sense of possibility. As I unpacked, I found something tucked at the bottom of an old box. A small pot of pothos, the one that had once sat on the balcony of the old home. It looked half dead, yellowed leaves, limp stems, evidently. During Ethan and Chloe's chaos, no one had bothered to take care of it. I lifted it gently. It was barely alive. I trimmed the dried leaves, cut away the dead stems, found a clean glass jar, filled it with water, and placed the remaining green vines inside. Then I set the jar on the south-facing windowsill of my new apartment. Sunlight spilled through the window, warm and bright, wrapping the little threads of green. I stood there for a long moment, watching it. No bitterness, no sadness, no attachment, just stillness, just clarity. That dying pothos, once neglected, almost discarded, was like the remnants of my marriage. Dead parts cut away, only the living, resilient parts kept. Maybe the plant would recover, maybe it wouldn't, but I would. Of that, I was certain. I turned away from the window, grabbed my car keys and backpack. A group of new colleagues had invited me to join an outdoor hiking meetup, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely excited to go outside. The sky was impossibly blue, broad, open, cloudless. As I stepped out the door, I felt it. A new beginning. One that belonged entirely, unapologetically, joyfully to me. Thank you for finishing today's story. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed the story, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. There are more amazing stories waiting for you to experience with me. See you tomorrow.